All right, welcome back to our interactive notebooks. Today we're working in our science interactive notebook. We're continuing to look at renewable, clean, green energy alternatives. These are the more environmentally friendly, less polluting or non-polluting forms of energy that are available that could be used in place of those fossil fuels that we've talked about. Things like coal and oil, which cause a lot of pollution and are not good for the environment and are also not renewable, meaning we will run out of them at some point if we continue to use them. All right, so today we're looking at solar energy. Solar means sun, as we're going to see. You may have heard of solar energy. It's a popular energy source right now. It's a lot more people are switching over to solar, which is great. So we'll need this page and this page, but actually we'll just be using this page, so you can take this page and put it aside for now. And we'll be using this page. We'll be cutting this out, gluing it into our notebook. Very similar, if you remember the wind power one that we did last time. This is very similar setup. We're going to do it exactly the same, just on the next page. So put this aside for now. You will need scissors, pen or pencil, your glue, and colors if you want them. Again, just like the wind one, there might not be a lot to color on here, but you can add as much color as you like while we work. All right, so the first thing you'll want to do is open your science interactive notebook, make sure it's the science one, to the last page we worked on. So remember, last time we were on page 9. Okay, so we'll be flipping that over. It was wind energy. You can see a couple of the little pictures we put on there. You want to flip that over to the next page, the next blank page. I'm going to work on the back of it. Okay. And then what we'll be doing, same thing as last time, is cutting this out, gluing it onto our page, and then writing the notes, and we'll have the flaps. So just like we did with wind energy, be very similar, where we'll have it with the flaps that we open to show off our notes. Okay. All right. So we got our thing here, and this is what we're gonna start doing, is cutting out one of these. Now you notice there are two. Just in case you make a mistake, you will only need one though. Choose whichever one you want to cut. I'm going to choose this one on the right. Remember, as I cut it out, I'm just cutting out the entire thing, okay? Not cutting those flaps off yet, not cutting anything extra. Just going to cut around the whole box first. All right. Now, what you see in that one picture, notice there's a couple questions on this, like there was with the wind energy one. What you see in this picture is a picture of what we call solar cells. Solar cells are usually flat. They kind of look like just fancy, usually like I said, very flat, often dark colored. That way, because dark colors absorb more sunlight, so solar cells tend to be black or very dark colored in order to absorb the most sunlight that they can. Because again, solar energy, as we'll see, comes from the sun. Solar means sun. And you usually have these discs, which, again, the function is to absorb sunlight and harness that sunlight in the form of heat and energy so that it can then be converted into electricity, which we could use in our homes to power all our appliances and our devices, our lights, right? Our laundry machines, our computers, our TVs, our charger cell phones, everything like that we use every single day. That's solar energy, is a way of harnessing the sun's rays in order to create that energy. Okay. Up at the top here, we're going to write, just like we did with wind energy, we're going to write solar energy. S-O-L-A-R A-R. For you Spanish speakers, you'll notice sol means sun. That's where the word solar comes from. Solar literally means having to do with the sun. It's a Latinly derived word. Comes from Latin. And Spanish is a language that also comes from Latin. So that's why they have the same root word of sol for sun. So it's just a little bit of trivia. And for those of you who speak Spanish, a little fun way of remembering solar means sun. So now I'm going to glue this on actually before I cut. I like to do that to make sure I don't cut all the way. So what I want to do is fold this on that line. Okay. So then I want to make sure that I fold on that black line there. Okay. And the reason being, and then I'll fold it again in to glue it on. I want to have it folded in when I glue it on. The reason I'm going to fold it again is because when I glue it down, I want these flaps to be able to come up and down. All right. Flip it over. I'll glue on that folded side there. Alright, when I glue it in, I want to make sure that I glue it in towards the middle. You can use that red line. There's a guide. If you glue it on that red line, you'll be good. Because I don't want it to be, I want it to be in the middle of the page so it doesn't hang off one of the sides. Now, I'm going to start writing notes. Before I do though, I want to now cut my flaps. So I'm going to cut across this line, just like on our last one, we'll have 3 flaps that open and close. If I'm moving too fast for you, remember you can always pause the video, slow down the video, rewind, whatever you need to do to make sure you're getting all the notes written, all the directions followed. Alright, so now I have my diagram glued on. I have my flaps cut so I can open and close each one individually. Now I'm ready to take my notes. So I'll zoom in for that for you guys. Alright, so the first one. What is solar energy? What is solar energy? Well, like we talked about, solar energy comes from the sun. How does it do that? And maybe even here I can say, you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to draw the sun up here. That might give me a good clue. Sun with the rays beating down on that solar panel. So maybe that's something you want to do to show how the sunlight is getting onto that solar panel. Alright, so solar energy. I'm going to flip this open, start writing my notes. Solar energy is made through solar panels, right? Solar panels. Okay. Panel is these flat pieces here, like these flat squares that are used to collect the energy. Each one of these are the panels, and they form this larger panel, or this larger network of panels to collect all that sun light and energy. All right, so solar panels capture light, right, from the sun. Very important. Can't just shine a flashlight on it. They need sunlight in order to work. Hence solar. And convert that light to electrical energy. Okay, so that's what solar energy is. It's light captured from the sun on these panels that's then converted into electrical energy. It's stored and then it's sent out to businesses, houses, industries, factories, all the different places that need electricity can be sent out from there. So as you can see, we've talked a little bit about the next part. So make sure you have that. Pause the video if you need to finish writing those, because I'm going to close the flap to get to our next flap. Our next flap is, what are the advantages of solar energy? And like I was saying, we've already talked about some of the advantages. Okay, but two of the big ones are it does not pollute. There's no pollution. Okay, we're not burning anything like we are with fossil fuels, right? It creates no pollution. And then also, it doesn't, in order to capture the sunlight, we're not having to pollute. Because if you remember how we dig up coal, one of the forms of getting coal, called fracking, causes pollution as well. Pollution in the water. And then, of course, burning of coal and oil, that's the way that we get the energy from it, is by burning them. And that creates a lot of air pollution. It releases a lot of smoke and other pollutants into the air as a side effect. Well, with solar energy, much like wind energy, since we're using something natural, one of the natural elements, right, in this case the sun, we're not burning it up, we're not, doing anything to it to cause any air pollution, any wind, any water pollution, anything like that. So there is no negative effect on the environment for using this. What's the other? Advantage? Well, sunlight is free. Right? The sun comes out pretty much every day. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to go out looking for it. The sun will come up, and the light from the sun comes down to us free of charge. Right? So it doesn't cost us anything. As far as the sun's light rays don't cost us anything. We're going to see later one of the disadvantages is that actually, even though the sun is free, it's a very expensive form of energy. But, and that may seem kind of contradictory to what I just said, right? To go against what I just said. But it is important to remember that we don't have to pay for sunlight, which again, unlike coal and oil, are things that companies dig out of the ground and then we have to pay for them to use them. Well, sunlight is free. So, if that's the case, why doesn't everybody just use solar energy? Well, there are some disadvantages, okay? That goes into a couple of things we just talked about. One is that even though sunlight is free, the technology is expensive, okay? Meaning those solar panels are very expensive. If you have solar panels on your house, or you know someone who's put in solar panels, they'll tell you how expensive the solar panels are. So the technology to capture, or I should say, the technology not to capture, but the technology for the solar panels is expensive. Okay. The other disadvantage is you need to have sunlight. So just like we saw with wind, if there's no wind, you're not collecting it. If there's no sun, you're not collecting much solar energy, right? So at night, you're not collecting any of that energy when the sun's gone. The panels will store it, so you can still use the energy that you have collected in the panels, but you still need sun in order to produce it. So places that get more sun more often are better equipped for solar energy, because there are places we've talked a little bit about up by the poles. So up in the North Pole region, one place we looked at I think was Iceland, that gets long periods of no sun in the winter. So it's very hard for them to capture enough sunlight during the day when they only get a couple hours of sunlight, and it may be dark and cloudy at that time as well, it's hard for them to capture enough sunlight. So you need sun for there to be, right, to capture it. There needs to be sunlight in order to capture the energy. Okay, so it needs to be sunlight in order to capture energy. Now luckily, unlike wind, sun is more reliable. Okay, so this isn't as big of a disadvantage as, say, with wind energy where there's no wind, because sunlight tends to be more reliable of when it will be sunny. Obviously we know it's sunny during the day and not at night because the sun sets during the night. And we know the climate patterns of certain areas that are better for setting up these solar panels. So places that get more light generally, and what time of year and what time of days they get that light. So, but it is one of the disadvantages, where unlike, again, coal or oil, once you find where it is, you know it's there and you can get it at any time of the day. All right, so those are the advantages, disadvantages, and a little bit about what solar energy is. Feel free to add more. If you want to add more color here, you can add more sun to it, make this look as nice as you want. It's a nice green energy, so maybe I'll add some trees on the side here, because, like I said, it's a very nice green form of energy, very environmentally friendly. So feel free to add some more trees if you like. All right, with that, I will add, we'll be talking about this more throughout the year as we have been. I'll add some more resources to this assignment as well. And other things you could look at and practice along with this. So next time we'll look at hydroelectric energy, which is a way of using water to capture energy. And so I look forward to seeing you then. All right, take care. Bye.